All righty. Welcome back, everyone. We're on the YouTubes. I should probably start the podcast part of this show. What do you think? Here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to Daily DVR. My name is Axel. I'm here today with the handsome, wonderful, and talented Ando. We're going to be chatting about The Last of Us, Season 2, Episode 3. We're going to be talking about some Andor. And I am going to talk about the new love of my life, Minka Kelly, on Ransom Canyon, the best show on television right now. Check us out at dvrpodcast.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us. It really helps us out. I think we're trying to get to like 300 subscribers so we can monetize this mofo. We appreciate that. And speaking of that, thank you once again to James, Grandpa James, Joe Bear, Gina, Jenny, Ando, me, Heath, all of our amazing
The
patrons.
best way to start a podcast is always by thanking yourself. So good job.
Thanking yourself. I know. What else? I mean, that's what you got to do, right? We're here live on the DVR Thank Yourself Podcast Network. We have a new free member, Jen. Welcome, Jen. Got to give a shout out to our man, Manny, who's been giving us lots of great commentary when he's watching our videos. And he did say, Ando, that Manny would love us to do a Lego podcast.
Oh, I hadn't heard
Yeah.
that yet.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
consider that
He
deal
said
done.
it. Manny, we would love to do that. We got to do it at some point. Who
Yes.
I want to give a shout out to Jennifer, who always gives us great comments. Let's see, we got Jenny, we got Tucker, of course, Angie. I'm just trying to give some people some shout outs to start the show. Gabby, Ann, of course, Bobby. Bobby, you're amazing. You're so fun. Every time you comment, I love it. It's just, man, Ricardo, great people over on the Patreon. We love you all. Thank you. It means a lot to us. What else do I have to say? Any other housekeeping? Did a great podcast last week, Ando, a wrap up of White Lotus season 3. We had a new podcaster, Erica.
She was excellent. She was
She
excellent.
was
Very good.
excellent,
Yes.
wasn't she?
Yes.
I got a text from Heath and it said, Folo, you were right. Erica's really funny. And I
Hmm.
was like, I told you, Solo. She's
Yeah.
got the humor, man.
Yep.
She digs it. That was a lot of fun. Of course, it was great to talk to Gina
Yep.
again
Both
after
of
the
the
trip.
people that you found for the
Jenny.
White Lotus that we hadn't podcast with before were really great. I hope they
I,
continue to podcast with us.
they found us. I
Or
didn't do
well,
any.
yeah. I
I mean,
suppose you still responded to the emails, but yes. So
that's true. But I was just like on a pod, and I was like, hey, anybody? It's been a while, and
yeah.
that's really awesome because I mean, that's how we all started listening to Lost and being a fan. I was originally a listener to Jay and Jack and Jen and
Yep.
Ryan.
Hmm.
And the first time I ever heard my voice on a podcast was, I think, actually on Jen and Ryan's show. I think they
That
played one of my messages.
wasn't that the transmission?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty
I
sure
think it
that
was
was
on
the
the
first time I
transmission.
heard your voice too, because I used to listen to them and Jay
Yep.
and Jack all the time too, and then went to you guys, and then after 10 years listening to you guys on Lost, I finally made contact with you.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. So that's the way I was just talking to my wife about how the way that originally I met Mike from One Mike is because his wife listened to podcast Winterfell.
Oh, his wife did. I didn't
Yes,
realize
she
that.
was the original listener.
Oh,
Because that's what I was saying about the two women too is we have a lot. I think we probably have more female listeners than we have male listeners. And I don't know whether that's because of the shows we cover or it's because maybe women listen to more podcasts. Maybe it's the way we talk about things. I don't know
hmm.
why. But it seems whenever I get breakdowns and I look at stats, which I don't always trust, and of course there's
Yeah,
not just men and women, there's non-binary people, there's all different types of people. But I think specifically what I see kind of more reaching out and what I see on the stats is what they refer to more women listening to us. So that's something to take note of. And also, it makes me say we should have more women talking then.
Yeah.
You
Maybe
know, I mean,
maybe we should stop trying to get one mic on. Maybe we need to get one mic's better half on a podcast.
one mic wife. That's what we need on this
Yes.
podcast.
Yes.
They, forget about one mic.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, that's right. One mic. We're coming for your wife, buddy. Get
Well,
ready for it.
now that he's a local celebrity in Detroit, being in the
Yeah.
Detroit paper, he's gonna outgrow us now, anyways. Full color photos. So
Yeah, that's true. That was awesome to see. But I don't know, it's just great. The whole community is awesome and everything. And I don't
yes.
know. Anyway, how are you doing, Andy? You were with us. We chatted on the football podcast. But at this time of the year, I always love to bring up your job because you are a farmer. And
Yes.
what have you been doing out there? Because you've been sending us amazing pictures in your huge vehicles with the sky as far as the eye can see. Just tell us a little bit about it. I want to dream for a bit about farming.
Well, basically what we do is we've got a bunch of bare acres of dirt. It just looks like something you'd see, well, maybe not really in a movie, but go out there with a big digger to break up the land just like you would like with a hoe in a garden or a rake, and then
Yeah.
we put thousands and thousands of seeds of corn in the ground and wait till they grow, basically.
Do
So
you do you do anything else to prepare the soil or you just till it?
usually just till it. There is some people here that no till as well, that just plant it directly without tilling it. But in our area, the soil is really, really rich. So sometimes you can have issues with moisture not escaping correctly and all this other thing. So there's kind of two thoughts. Some people do it both ways. Some people actually also, I should say, we also have to put fertilizer on everything
That's what I'm thinking.
and
Okay.
weed control. And we just broadcast spread it over like you would on your lawn. But some other people pay for like the super high tech GPS where they literally drop the fertilizer pellet into the ground and then come back and they have it GPS mapped so accurately that they can drop a corn seed directly on top of that piece of fertilizer and do that over and over and over. And I mean, it's like the tech, it's
Yeah.
like super high tech. Well, not super high tech, but higher tech than what we're doing, obviously. But it's, yeah, the technology is pretty crazy. Most people don't see that side of it. They think of people in overalls and out on a tractor in an open air
Yeah.
cab. But so, yeah, I basically spend a lot of time riding around in a tractor cab this time of year, 10, 12-hour days. That's kind of how I started listening to you guys because there was time back when you had to download podcasts. That's how I would pass the days. I would sit in a tractor for 10 or 12 hours. You can there's only so much old time rock and roll oldies you can listen to and shit kicker
Yeah.
music you can listen to before you start going crazy. So yeah, it's very
Yeah.
peaceful and until it's not when stuff breaks down, it's a pain in the ass, but that's part of it too. So it's basically just long hours putting seed in the ground is the simplified version of what I do.
Well, you taught me all about the technology and of course I've seen amazing drone video footage and pictures that you've taken and you told me about that, how like everything, see,
Hmm.
to me, I equated it to CGI and special effects, how you turn a TV screen into basically a graph and everything has a point. And
Yep.
once you give it a point and a number, you can manipulate the color,
Yep.
the shape, anything.
It's just a different version of that
Yeah.
because the main one of the biggest parts of it is data and just knowing where your like all your historical data of that single spot on the plant on the map and then putting the best thing there or you like I said manipulating it by putting more fertilizer there or less to get your numbers to come out. It's a crazy. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Like I say, I'm very oversimplifying it, but it's very similar to that where it's basically just knowing what you have and manipulating it in exactly the right way. So to get what you want. So.
That is awesome. I love hearing about that, man. Well, you know who else loves hearing about it is someone who said to us, "Hi, sexy men," and
Oh,
that
you
is
see that?
Mr. Solo, Heath Sentaza. What up, Solo? Man, so where is Solo? I just figured Solo was working today. Maybe he should just call in and jump in on the pod,
Yeah,
Solo.
the sexiest one of us all is just commenting in the chat room.
I
So
know. He's probably carrying some dead body somewhere right now as we speak while he's driving on the 501 to the
if it's on
302.
accident or on purpose, we're not really sure, but one of the two.
Hey, as long as he's getting paid, right, man? That's what
Yeah,
it's all about.
exactly. That is exactly what it's all about.
Oh, wow. Well, Gosh, man, I gotta tell you, Ando, I was watching The Last of Us. Did you watch it last night?
Yes, I am caught up.
I'm really into this show, man. I am so excited because, I was a little off last year because I was so into the video game. Now, I don't think we've had an opportunity. Solo and I talked about the first two episodes. I don't think we've had an opportunity to talk about this season. I'm interested to hear first how you think this season's going overall, and secondarily how you would compare it to how it feels to season one.
Well, season one, it was a show that I liked, but I didn't love. I mean, I know a lot of people loved it. I think it was like our overall number one show of the year. I think the year it came out, or number two. I thought it was fine. I didn't love it. It's like it's okay. I kind of see what they're and the first episode of this season, I thought the same thing. I'm like, it's fine. The second episode I thought was a freaking masterpiece. That was, I think, by far the best thing they have ever done. Like, and not just because of the twist. I did not know the twist going in. I somehow avoided it. I knew there was a giant twist coming, and I knew it divided the fan base because I think we talked about that a little bit in season one. I think we had talked about it at some point, and you had said, "Well, there's something that happens, and it was more like what you and Solo had said. I think you specifically were like the hard home of it. That's what it felt like. It felt
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
first time ever, it took a leap to this new level that even like before that, and you see what's her name, Abby. You see her walking out on almost on these cliffs, going down the mountain. Like all of a sudden, the epic scale just expanded to a level that it had not even attempted before. Even some of the stuff last year was epic, but not in the same. You know what I mean? It
yes, I
felt
do. I
bigger
do.
and
Yep.
different. And I for like halfway through the episode, I'm like, holy shit, what happened to this show? I was loved the second episode. I thought, like I said, I think it's by far the best show they or best episode they've done. I like the twist. I thought it made sense for the show. I thought it didn't make me mad. I guess I don't unless you're a Pedro Pascal super fan, I don't understand why it would make you mad. But is it true in the game that it switches perspective to you being the
Yes.
one?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so I could see why that would piss you off if you were playing the game and you had to kill the guy you had been. I get why that would piss you off, but
Well, also think about this, Andy. You know that behind there's all people, there's a lot of people watching the show and they're just watching the show and they like the show and they like the game. But then behind that is the cult of incel like video
yeah,
game people on the internet who are,
yeah,
they're also Star Wars fans and love to complain about Rey. And so the
hmm
fact that I think now because Ellie is gay, that caused a big storm first, right? And people are
hmm
like, oh, they're woke, they're adding this, blah, blah. Meanwhile,
Was
it's
that
part
was
of the
that a
story.
is that a point in the game or is that something added for the
I
show?
believe that in the first game it is because we meet. So the
Oh,
first there's a short DLC
hmm
that tells this that is actually a whole episode of season one when we find out about Ellie being in love with her friend.
yeah,
Remember, and then and then
yep,
her friend gets bit, and that's when she gets bit. Okay,
yep,
that's a DLC in the game, downloadable content, like an extra little game.
uh-huh,
And but it's made reference to in the first game, but it's not a major plot point because they're trying to escape zombies walking across
yeah,
the world,
yeah, yeah,
But it's part of the character, right?
yep,
In the second game, I believe it does because of her friend, right? And she's older now.
hmm
But also because Abby, like I said before, in the game, Abby is very physically imposing.
Yeah, I've heard she's like a bodybuilder or something like
Yeah,
that, or a
she's like
pro
a
wrestler.
bodybuilder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same kind of thing.
exactly. Like
Yep.
Ronda Rousey or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Like she's
Yep.
very big. Now, I don't remember what her sexuality is in the game. Honestly, I don't even remember. But
Yeah.
I do remember that that was kind of like the incels got really pissed off because she is a large woman killing their big hero
Their
man.
hero.
You know what I'm saying? So that kind of became a whole big thing. But as far as for the normies, normal mentally insane people who are just playing a game and think, okay, the guy created something. I do think that the fact that they do it to you twice in such quick succession, which is you have to kill everyone you have to kill all the fireflies as
Okay.
Joel.
Okay.
And
Yep.
then you
Oh
wait
yeah,
all,
yeah.
right? And then
Yep.
you wait all these years, and then the game comes out, and it's within the first hour or so.
Oh, so it's
You're,
early in the game too.
yes, it takes
Okay.
in the game. In the game, it's right. If I remember correctly, I may be wrong. I only played the game once, and it was when it immediately when it came out. I got
Uh-huh.
it that day and played it, right? But I think it's after New Year's
Okay.
that Joel and his brother, I think they just go outside to like look at the stars or something, and Abby attacks them. The whole avalanche and all that kind of shit is not in the game.
Okay.
It's more, if I remember correctly, it's more like they're just like they're about, it's like a coincidence. They're trying to figure out how the fuck are we going to get in here? And then all of a sudden they look and there's Joel, and he calls out, Tommy says like, "Hey Joel," or something like in the game, like in
Yep.
the show. So that is why people got angry, I think initially, is because you have to kill Joel.
Yep.
And it's with a character that you barely know. You don't know her motivations yet.
Yeah.
I believe that you have an inkling, or I did at least, that she's affiliated with the Fireflies,
Yep.
but you get a little bit more of the backstory and setup in the TV show.
Well, that's I had heard something that the because I had read some articles about somebody who had played it after the big reveal came out. I wasn't quite as careful about spoilers as I had been, so I'd read that they were surprised that they put more of the backstory in right away, and they were surprised actually that they did it early in the season. They thought they would move that to later in the season. So I guess it makes sense that it would be early in the game then too. That's yeah, I thought that whole thing was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then last night, I just like any big, like a hard home episode, usually the next episode after something like that is kind of the cool down episode, which I thought this definitely was to a lot of things. The thing that impressed me the most about this episode 3 was something that it's a very small detail, but it was one of the things that, like, I thought for a second they were going to go down the trope of the religious zealots in the apocalypse thing, which we've seen
Yeah.
in Walking Dead and so many. And I'm like, oh, do we need to do this again? I'm hoping this show. And then by the end, they wipe that whole group out, and I was like, oh, or maybe not the whole group, but they wipe all those people out that we saw earlier. And I was like, I actually love that they didn't go with that same old trope of the. It's like, I mean, we've seen I mean, how many The Walking Dead had multiple groups like that, or
Yeah.
The Mist, or all of these apocalyptic things where
Of
these religious.
course.
I'm like, we don't. Every apocalyptic story doesn't need to have that. So I'm excited to see where it goes next. I mean, I didn't have a lot of thoughts about this episode. It was more of just a character episode, I thought, but I still enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think it introduced it, obviously you've lost the star of the show. I mean, definitely Ellie, um, Bella Ramsey is a star and a co-star of the show. But let's not get it twisted. Pedro Pascal, I mean, come on, man. That dude's huge. He's in everything. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So he was the star of the show. And that is a big loss, even as you think about it. But I think they handled it so well. They just kept it moving and they kept
hmm
the beats hitting, and they didn't try to overdo like, oh, all of a sudden this person is no, we had met Jesse. We had met, what's her name? Dina, right? Her
Dina. Yeah, I
friend.
think. Yep, I
Yeah,
think
we
it's
had
Dina.
met Dina, Tommy. We knew they did a good job in only 2 episodes of establishing these people to us. So I was comfortable with them, and I'm just as I have to tell you, I was really surprised that I really didn't even feel the loss of Pedro Pascal in the show. I really
Yeah.
felt like, especially Bella Ramsey, man, she is a fucking really good actress. Like she just has the ability to control the entire camera and scene, and just you just focus on her,
Yeah.
you know? Just the way she has great facial movement as well too. She really can. I bet she practices in front of a mirror like a good
Uh,
actor should.
I'm sure she does. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to see more of her, but I've always loved Caitlin Deaver forever. So
Yeah, she's
I'm,
awesome.
I'm hoping we see much more from her as well, and hope she picks up a lot of the slack
Oh,
that Joel
dude.
is missing. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I like Pedro Pascal, but for me, this was one of his least interesting roles that he's had. I think. I mean, he's good, but it wasn't. I loved him more in Game of Thrones, or I love him more in Mandalorian and
Yeah, I
other
could
things.
see
So
that.
it's. I was sad to see him go, but it wasn't. To me, it didn't affect me the way because I know there's some people that are mad that didn't play the game even because they were upset that he was killed. So
I can see that though. Sometimes people, like with a show, you just really like that person.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I guess, I mean, it was similar. I'm trying to think in Game of Thrones if there was somebody that died that I was kind of like afterwards, the show felt like less heavy to me. And maybe a little bit when Tywin went down,
yeah,
right? When Tyrion killed Daddy on the privy.
yeah.
On the privy. That's for you,
On
Solo.
Father's Day, I think too,
On
if I remember
Father's
correctly.
Day.
Like,
Yeah, it was broadcast on Father. And then
yes,
remember on Mother's Day, they did
uh-huh,
the mother killing.
yes.
I love fucking Game of Thrones was so goddamn good. I hate when people get angry about that show. It's like just appreciate it. Come on.
And
Yeah, we know what the end was rushed. Okay. The people wanted to get on with their lives. They're
Yeah,
people too.
Pete Game of Thrones. You can, I mean, like you cannot beat Pete Game of
Can't beat
Thrones.
it. You can't beat it. But I guess Tywin, I felt because he was so heavy in that
Hmm.
show.
Yeah,
But I just didn't feel it. And I think you're right too, because really we saw more of Joel in these last two episodes than we did really in the first season, because he is kind of the epitome of the strong, silent type
hmm,
at the point that we meet him.
yep,
Um, so I also think they moved so naturally into new aspects of the story. I like the way that they turned the quest for getting Abby not just into a revenge thing, they explored it through using the council as a vehicle to explore her
yeah,
emotions and our emotions as viewers as well. I thought that was pretty genius because as you're watching them debate, is this revenge? Why are we doing it? And then when
yeah,
she says, a resolution to hunt down and find the people responsible for killing Joel and execute them,
yeah,
right? Like they were very intentional, as people love saying these days, but they were very purposeful, is a better word, about what they were exploring during that whole scene. And
yeah,
I don't know, man. I think this show was way better. It was great last season. And I know we had these one-off episodes that were very emotional and very
yeah.
meaningful. But to me, the great quest of this show is to be able to mix action, emotion, propulsive storytelling, and also just cool shit. Can I
And
say it?
horror too. I mean, there's
Horror, yeah.
And I think you're right because season one, when I think about season one, I think the Nick Offerman episode was amazing, and then I'm thinking, okay, that really wasn't really, didn't really advance the story, didn't
Zero.
really.
Zero.
It was just
Yep.
a like I said, it was a side quest, and that episode was amazing. But the rest of it, I'm like, I remember certain things, but it wasn't the this. It just seems like I don't know. It also feels like it's a show that finally completely has their footing. They maybe
Yeah.
had most of it in the first season, but their
Yep.
confidence this season is so much higher. It kind of like the
Totally.
leap that Game of Thrones took, I think, in season three. I think was when that one really took a leap to be a great from a great show to an all-time great show. I think same kind of thing. Um, what was I gonna? I was gonna say one other thing about Game of. Oh, that meeting scene. Just because they bring it up, and actually, we're going to talk about two shows today that feature farmers. The guy stands up and says, "We need to grow more corn. Corn's really
Yeah.
hard to grow.
Yeah.
Corn is not really hard to grow." So they did not do that. It's in the grass family. It's not hard to grow. So I got to call out the writers did not do a
There
whole
you
lot of
go,
research there.
Ando.
So yeah,
Yeah, come on, motherfuckers. All right.
yeah,
You know what? We're not talking about this show anymore. You get the
yes,
farm shit wrong, we're out.
yep, done.
Done.
F.
Um, well, I was thinking you mentioned Game of Thrones season three.
Or
Okay, so
maybe it was season two. I don't remember. It might have been season two when I'm thinking. I'm getting them things. I was trying to think of that in my head too. But
well, you know what I think of, Andy, is this. We know that at the end of season one of Game of Thrones, we have a big death, and it's
hmm,
shocking. But when you hear the writers talk about it, and when you watch behind the scenes or read interviews with writers that have existing material where there's one plot point that people cling to,
yep,
they often talk about working to that point, getting past that point, and then being free of it.
yep,
And to me, the death of Joel is frees the writers and it frees this show from the thing that had it kind of in lockstep to get to a certain point.
Yeah.
Last night I said to my wife, if HBO had come to me, right, and they said, "Hey Axel, we're making The Last of Us into a TV show," right? What are like three things that has to happen in the first season, right? And there's really only three things. Well, okay, I'm going to say four, right? The origin of Joel and the death of his daughter.
Yep.
Joel and Ellie meet. Joel and Ellie meet Tommy. Joel kills all the fireflies.
Yep.
That's the entire first season of that show, folks.
Hmm.
Anything else that happened in that show has zero bearing, really. Maybe I'm forgetting one or two things here, but has kind of zero bearing to what's happening now. They were locked into those things. And once they get past Joel's death, the second game has a lot more narrative to it, but because it has a lot more narrative to it, it gives you more leeway to kind of move in and out and create
Yep.
and kind of feel more people.
Yep.
And you're not really locked into anything going forward because the way that the game progresses from here has a lot more to do with the narrative than it does with the character, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh
A
yeah.
story has to progress.
Yep.
So that's why we can see them following more of a story this season than
Hmm.
last season. To me, once they took off and went on their journey, it was almost Lynchian, right? It was like it reminded me of like Annihilation, right? Which is
Oh.
a metaphor for death and loss,
Uh-huh.
but so was their journey, right?
Yep. Oh, for sure.
It wasn't real. It didn't feel as real to me. It felt ethereal. It felt
Yeah.
that they
More
were
surreal. Yeah.
surreal. Yeah. Like, did you ever see that movie Monsters, Gareth Edwards' first movie with Scoot McNairy?
Yes.
When the
Yes.
monsters are kind of like they're there, but they're
Yeah.
not. They're like, we
Yep.
don't see them all the time.
Yep.
It's more of a mindset that you
Hmm.
exist in a place where that is
Or
real,
that's a thing. Yeah.
where that's a thing.
Yep.
So that's
Kind of
how
like how the zombies are in this, that we don't really see them that often. I don't think we did we even
yeah.
see any of them in this episode. I don't
Well,
think we did.
that's a question I have for you. That's the one thing I had. My wife and I were watching it, and I was like, they seem kind of chill in that tent, like they're in the middle of nowhere. Like there's like it's post-apocalypse. I know it's like 20 years later, but we just saw a whole fucking avalanche of zombie fungus mushroom
Yeah.
things, clickers, whatever the fuck you call them. So
Yes. I
I don't know.
Some of that is inconsistent a little bit, but
That's I'm wondering though, is it I don't know. I wonder if they'll explain that. Like,
well, and it could be something as easily explainable as that they aren't really out in the rural areas because, like we saw the fungus going through pipes and stuff like that.
oh, okay.
You get out
That's
in
a
the middle
good,
of nowhere,
yeah.
there's maybe nowhere for them to really to live on.
Well, we did see the wolves as an army in Seattle, and
Yeah.
they're patrolling the city. And it leads you to believe, perhaps you're right, Andy. We saw in the first episode there's an evolution of the fungus here. It works together. It's all one organism, right?
Yeah. Well, then we saw that in the first season, didn't we?
Yes,
That's what I thought.
we
Because
did.
like
Yeah.
I know when Solo was asking about it, and he kind of pieced together. It's like I'm pretty sure we saw that in the first season where it communicated underground or however the fungus strains were working. And
Yes, because that is, if you watch the first episode, that's how they explain it.
yeah,
Remember? They
yeah.
explain like the, like that old story about how like there's like a fungal world that goes from like Boston to New Jersey,
Oh yeah, yep,
like underground or something.
yep.
And so, but that's going to evolve too. I don't want to do any spoilers, but I know that there's more from the game that they're going to bring that they
Mm,
didn't put
good.
in the first season that makes this more interesting. I also want to bring back the idea that Lady Solo had that Ellie's blood dropping into the
Oh
sink somehow alerted the fungus to her existence.
yeah, that's a cool idea.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
I'm really like I kind of think that I like it a lot. I think they
that's
need Lady Solo in the writer's room.
that's me, and I can go there to bitch about the farming inaccuracies, and she can go in there to actually do plot points that are cool and mean something.
Well, she's a nurse. That's why she
Yeah,
knew
I
about the
know.
blood.
That's yeah, yeah. When he brought that up last week when you guys were talking about, it, I'm like, damn, that is a very. I hope they do something with that because that's a cool. And it doesn't seem like something you do without a reason for it. So these writers are smart enough to pay off on that, I think. So
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely true. And I think that there's also ways of mixing the evolution of the fungus and how it attacks humans
hmm
and making that also a metaphor for what's going on with the characters and the journey they're on. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying, homie?
yep,
Like
exactly
how
right.
how how people communicate, how things spread, how people spread. But I'm happy that they're moving it along pretty quick.
hmm
Because like my wife was like, "Oh shit, they're in Seattle already?" Like, last time how long would it take you? You know what? This is why they have fucking Google. All right, let's see. How long would it take you to walk
From Jackson Hole to
from Jackson?
Seattle.
Yeah, let's see how many people Googled this last night.
Oh, I bet a ton.
From Jackson to does Seattle come up? Oh, it didn't come up. Seattle. Okay. Distance from Jackson to Seattle. Google, I said Jackson.
Well, it's a 13-hour drive.
Oh, okay. There you go. You got it quicker than me. I like that. It's a 13-hour drive. That's not that far.
Well, and
Well,
that's
that's
going.
like New York to like Durham, because that's what that was 8 hours.
Yeah,
So
it's still
I
a quarter of the way across the country.
you know what the thing is, I'm from New Jersey, and my sense of distance, everything in the Northeast, you just see. I always say that to my son. One time I looked at an American map. I said, "Son, I want you to look at this map, and I want you to realize that the country started in the Northeast, and the newest places are in the West. And I want you to tell me what you think happened." And he said the same thing I said. He's like, they got lazy. They were just like, okay, this is all
Yeah,
California. Fuck it. We don't have time to carve this up into Delaware and fucking New Jersey and everything. It's just all California.
the I walking distance is 316 hours.
Yeah, but you're riding on a horse, right?
Yes, but a
So,
horse maybe goes 10 or 15. I mean, a horse can't go 50 miles an hour for 3 hour 30 for 13 hours. So
so it was not one night that they
no,
got from there.
that's not possible. And half of that is going through the Rocky Mountains, which would also be very difficult as well. So there has to be
Okay.
some time, so
Okay.
a decent amount of time that's passed, probably weeks was my
She
guess.
outlined the way on the map too.
Yep.
So I'm sure there's people who have really gone through it. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, Ando, that I know we're both perfectly fine with them taking like license with that. That's okay. I don't need, that's what I'm saying. I'm okay. I didn't need an entire season
They
of them riding a horse in the
they
mountains.
just use they just used the Littlefinger's travel machine and got there real quick.
Yes.
That's
They
fine.
teleported. They
Yes,
teleported.
they
They
used a
got
portal.
they were like like Scotty, beam us up.
Yes,
Um I think that that's perfectly fine, and I really liked it. Like when my wife said, "Oh, they're there," I was like, "Oh, they're there already." I was like, "I love it. I'm so happy that they're there already."
yeah, I don't need the. I mean, that was one of the other things that Walking Dead did that got so repetitive was they spent so much time just walking and not
Yeah.
really. It was like being on a damn treadmill all the time. It's got showed that they're not drawing it out like that, which I think is, I mean,
I'm walking here. I'm
yeah,
walking.
exactly right. So
Yeah, we didn't need to see it. I like that they got there. They had a journey. The tent thing is enough to tell us, okay, where their relationship is at. Because we
yep,
were all wondering, she got her big kiss with her big crush, but we knew that she was kind of back and forth with her boyfriend. And we also knew that she was just kind of like vacationing in Gayville for a night. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like she wasn't really in
No,
love with her
just having
that
some
way,
fun and
an
experimenting. Yeah,
experience. But for Ellie, it's not an experience. That's who she is.
yep.
So I felt that even in that tent, I was a little like, uh, I don't know. I felt like Joel's death made it so Ellie wasn't like crushed.
Yeah.
that this happened, but I also do think that it means more to her than she's letting on.
Oh, I think 1,000% it does. I mean,
So that
she's already been proven that she doesn't really handle her emotions very well, and she doesn't know how
exactly.
to express herself very nice, and
Yep.
she needs to stay and talk with Catherine O'Hara a little bit longer, I think, as we all do. So,
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. Oh, Catherine O'Hara is so fucking good, man.
yeah, I love her.
An actress like that, you're just watching the show and you're like, this is why you watch so many other shows and be like, that's not great acting, because this is great acting.
Yeah,
That's
she's
what
so
like
awesome.
teaches you, wakes you up to it. You're like, holy shit, that's what acting is. But then,
Yes.
I mean, I think a lot of people on the show do this, and
Oh,
I'm
it's a great
really,
cast,
really,
yeah.
it is such a good cast. Tommy, what's his name again? What's that actor's name? Diego Luna?
No, Diego Luna is in
Oh,
Andor. This is
oh,
Gabriel
that's right.
Luna.
Okay, Gabriel. Okay, I get. They have
I
the
think,
same last name, right? Don't they have the
yes,
same last name?
same last name, but I do not think they are related.
Okay. I mean, he's been around a while too. I've seen him in stuff for
Yeah,
a long time. I really, man, he's good too. Like there, he stepped up. Everybody stepped up this episode.
yep,
I was really happy. I'm really excited for where this. I'm excited to see what's up with the Wolves. They took out the Scar people. What's going on with that? Why did they do it? Is Abby a part of that group? Is that the same thing? Did they leave that group? Were they, what's going on? You know what I mean? I like how they're reminding us of the people who were running Boston or whatever. That
yep.
whole,
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
should go,
right. Yeah,
that is, I guess, what the American government is now.
yeah.
But
I
they,
should go back and watch some of that early
yeah,
stuff because
I
I
like
don't
that
remember all
world
those
building.
details. Yeah.
It's important
Hmm.
because my dream for this show would be I would love for them to go past the game because I don't think they're going to do another game. And I think that has more to do with the video game industry than it does if Druckmann or anyone else wants to do it because these type of what they're called AAA games cost so
Yeah.
much money now
Hmm.
that they just don't make them like this anymore.
Yeah.
Like when you see the games come out, a lot of them, like with my son, they're free to play, pay a little extra, you get a
Yeah.
skin, you
They
get a
do
whatever,
the
micro,
microtransaction
yeah,
things. God,
yeah.
I hate them.
And these big AAA games, even some of the games recently that have come out now, Ando's a big PS5 guy. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Even like
I've
the
joined the cult.
You have, even like the Star Wars recent triple, they're not as big as they used to be.
Hmm.
And The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2 were kind of made at the height
Yeah.
of big games.
Unlimited budget, unlimited time to get it
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're very difficult. And all, I mean, the technology involved, there's motion capture, there's so much, the
So,
music.
do you remember, does the second game end in a spot where they could easily continue it from there, or is it to have like a, do you remember?
I do not even remember how it ends. I
Okay.
don't remember
I
at
remember you
all.
saying you didn't remember a whole lot
Nope.
after the Joel thing, so
I don't even remember. I might just be blocking out of my mind. But what I was going to say is I hope they go past the game with the show.
yeah.
And I hope that they get I do like the mythology of this world, and I don't want them to be the Walking Dead. I don't want them to ignore
Yeah.
a cure, the zombies, the
That's
science. I like that stuff.
I agree with you that one of the biggest faults of Walking Dead was that they didn't do any of that. I mean,
Yeah.
barring a few little morsels here and there, most of that was completely ignored. It was just a monster show.
I know that was on purpose too, though.
Yeah.
Kirkman said it, right? Like he didn't want to get into that whole mythology thing, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think when you willfully ignore something in writing, you kind of put a spotlight on it. And I think
Yeah.
that's like why The Walking Dead for me, I know a lot of people love that show, and to them, it's like one of the greatest stories and characters and worlds. But I hate to break it to them. It's not. It's just not that good.
Well,
It's really not.
I love the first two or three seasons, and then it just when it became clear that they were just going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, there's no progression in that show. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's not. That
Yep.
guy did much better with Invincible. I don't know. Maybe he worked with other people, But The Walking Dead, and I know people say, well, the comic is much better. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I didn't read the comic. I watched the TV show, like as Solo would say all the time. I didn't read the
Yes.
fucking book, okay?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and we've been talking about a lot of death and fungus and things like that. And I'd like to, if I could change the subject right now, would you allow me to do that?
Let's do it.
All right. Over the weekend, my wife and I were watching different television programs, and we kind of were like, we don't have a lot of reality shows to watch. We don't feel like watching drama, too much drama, and everything is about somebody getting murdered or killed or kidnapped or something bad happening to them. Let's try something a little lighter. So,
Yeah, even the other show I'm going to talk about later is that's kind of what it's about is death and people dying. So, yes.
see,
I s-
man, I said I want, and this isn't going to take long, folks, because Ando hasn't watched this show. But we happened upon this show on Netflix, and it's called Ransom Canyon. Okay? I'm going to say it again just so you remember this. Ransom Canyon. Now, Ransom Canyon is like if Virgin River had a one night stand with Yellowstone, and then Yellowstone never spoke to that kid. You know what I'm saying? Yellowstone's the dad.
Uh-huh.
Virgin River's the mom. And then Virgin River raised the kid. Okay? And this is one of the horniest but most relaxing and enjoyable soapy shows. It stars, for the ladies, Josh Duhamel. We know this guy is a good-looking man.
Vikings super fan. That's why I'm wearing this hat. Minnesota Vikings super
Oh,
fan, Josh
okay.
Dumel. So,
Well, let me tell you something. This man embodies the term silver fox, okay? Now I know I'm a little silver. I still got the red up here. He is a good-looking man. And then on the other side, for us gentlemen, like a fine wine that only gets better with age, Minka Kelly. Holy Lord Jesus. I am not a religious man, Andy, but watching this show has made me believe. And I believe in Minka. Now, we all know her from Friday Night Lights, right? We and some other stuff,
you know
mainly
what?
Friday Night
If
Lights.
she was good enough to date Derek Jeter, she's good enough for me. So,
Well, okay. See, I don't even know much about her because I just know she was on Friday Night Lights. I thought she was beautiful, but there was something missing always for me, right? Like as an actress and everything. Like I thought she was beautiful, but now I understand. And what I understand is she was waiting to be the ultra MILF, the most beautiful of she has just really came into herself, not only in her looks, I'm not being superficial here, folks, but in her depth of acting. Like literally, she is acting really good on this show. And so is he. It's very cheesy. It's totally a soap opera. You laugh at the storylines. It's got teenagers in it. You know, they all grew up in the same town in Texas, although it totally looks like it was shot in Canada. And like they're all super rich, but they never talk about it, except for the poor people who are very poor and live in a trailer. You know, like it's very typical, but it's so fun to watch. It's so light. And I say to Perry all the time, they only one step you, right, Andy? Like in shows we watch, they triple step you. Like
oh,
you find out a person is
yep,
not only working for the other side, but they grew up, blah, blah, blah. It's like it gets deep. In this
gotcha.
one, it's like somebody tells a little lie and then an episode later they admit it. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like it's not trying to trick you with its
Simple in a good way.
exactly. Its narrative is pretty straightforward. But let's get back to Minka Kelly, Andy, just for a minute here, because my goodness,
And you know,
really,
I'm looking back through her filmography. There's not a whole lot of things I know who she is, of course, but
yeah.
there's not a whole lot of things I've seen her in.
Well, you don't need to. You only need to see Ransom Canyon, Ando, because if she had only ever appeared in this show, all of America would now be just like, who is this? She is amazing, and she's a strong woman. She just has grown into her face, and it made me realize that I think she kind of always looked a little more mature than she was, and now she is as mature as she looks, and she owns it. And there's just, Andy, you and I are older guys. There's something about an older, mature, confident woman who has a lifetime of experience, but who just also just embodies beauty and grace. And that person is Minka Kelly. That's all I got. I love her.
She's a very, very attractive woman. There's no question about it. I'm looking at her picture right now, and yeah, it's just I.
Trust me. My wife's been hearing about it all weekend. She's like, enough with Minka Kelly. And then, of course, I have to say, well, honey, you know why I'm so obsessed with her? Because she reminds me of you.
How did that work?
She believed it because it was
I
true.
I hope Perry listens to this
True.
episode or
It's
watches
totally
us talk
true.
about it.
It really is true, though. I am just, I don't know. I appreciate Minka Kelly. But anyway, even if you don't, you will like the show. The show is actually, that's not the joke part. The real part is it's a very fun show. And I think it's a good couple show. I love couple shows. Don't you like couple shows, Ando, where you get to watch something with your wife?
Yeah, and I actually haven't. My wife and are on different schedules a lot of the time, so we haven't actually watched a lot of shows like since basically since the kids. Maybe when Luke was still here, but since we've had two kids, a lot of times there hasn't been a lot of shows that we have watched together. But
Hmm.
actually, one of the shows we have watched together is the show that I also want to talk about. That also has death in it because we did watch that show together last week.
Oh, I like this transitional opportunity. Hit it.
Uh, it's the second season of Andor.
Oh, yeah. Now, I have only watched two of the three. Are there did the new episodes drop yet?
Tomorrow.
Oh shit. Okay, I'm going to watch that third episode tonight. So I can talk about the first two episodes with you, but unfortunately, I did not watch the third, which I know caps it because they're doing each pod of three is one
Yeah.
year leading up to I really hope that who was that? That wasn't Daisy Ridley. That was what's her
Uh,
name?
Felicity Jones.
Felicity Jones. I hope she pops up in um in the final
Yeah, because
episode and they
each
really,
like when it starts, it says BBY4, I think, which is Battle
Yes, that's
Before Yavin, and then each
exactly
one, the next grouping is year three, year two, year one, and yeah, the
right.
third episode is it could have been a movie, or it's like those first three could have been one long movie because it definitely ends.
Yep.
Episode 3 ends. It's almost or like a mini season finale is kind of what it feels like. It's
Okay.
greatly tied into the first two episodes, and
Awesome.
I loved the season. Loved Episode 3. I thought it was really, really good because I've seen some complaints about the first two episodes being a little bit slow, or the first couple
Really?
episodes being a little bit slow and nothing happened,
Okay.
which I don't know. This show was probably my most anticipated show of the year. The first season of Andor was my number one show of that year. I remember that for sure. I loved it. I think it's my favorite Star Wars thing probably since Empire Strikes Back. I think it's still that way. Well, it maybe isn't to that point yet for this season, but what did you think of the first two episodes? I loved them.
I thought they were fantastic. And I thought especially the opening to the first episode when he steals the what is that a TIE fighter that he
Yeah,
steals?
it's like a
Some
prototype TIE fighter. Yep.
I want to say like they have all those different tie. It's like a tie X or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's one of at some point there's a line dropped about I didn't know it was a prototype or
Yeah.
something like that.
Ooh.
So
Oh my God, Ando. I just got like a nerd vibe going on just talking about fucking Star Wars shit. I got excited. Okay.
I know.
Um, I really like the two episodes. I know I was a little, I don't know, man. The when Andor himself is stuck for two episodes with the kind of feuding people there,
The Rebel thing,
the
yeah.
rebels, I get it. It's a metaphor. It speaks to his previous experience and what he has to do to move forward, right? Which is
Hmm.
action and take
Hmm.
command of things, which is what people have been telling him to do through the first season, right?
Hmm.
I like that, okay? It was definitely also historically Star Wars. It felt like a fucking old Japanese samurai movie where the two guys are yelling at each other. Actually, I've probably seen like three or four Japanese
Yeah.
samurai movies.
I didn't even think about that, but of course you're right. It's the whole samurai,
Yeah,
Japanese samurai
dude.
stuff. Yes.
Come on, they're sitting around the fire. One
Yep.
of the guys goes, Lord Yoshi never took care of me. He goes, You speak badly of your Lord Yoshi? You should kill yourself right now. Commit seppuku. And then the guy's like, and then they fight and they square off and they go on to other, like, I just imagine it. That's what it was to me. And
Yeah.
I love that about it. But it was a little, that was a little played out to me. Like, I think that we could have gotten past that with one
What's the
episode.
what's the last stuff you've seen with them?
He flies off in the
Okay.
plane in the
Yeah,
thing.
okay.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. I
Oh,
couldn't remember if
I
that was couldn't remember if he flew off and if that was episode 3 or episode 2. That's what I was
okay,
asking.
yeah, that was episode 2. So I don't know, maybe we see them again. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow they become involved in what's going on because we
Well,
did know who they were working with.
and that when the Imperial lady is in that meeting with Krennic, and he
Yeah.
says something about you need to find a group of rebels that can do this job for you that knows how to like the mining thing,
Yeah.
like they were talking about mine. So I'm guessing we're going to see them again. And it
Oh,
was
okay. I
that
like that. I
that
like that.
planet is also that's also an important planet. I'm pretty sure that is the moon of Yavin of the original Star Wars.
Really?
When he flies away with the TIE fighter, you see those
Oh
pyramid
yeah, those
things.
pyramid things. That's right. I was when
Yes.
they showed up, I was like, I should know what those are,
Yeah. So
you know?
if they aren't that group of rebels that they get, I'm at some point that we'll be going back there. So I'm sure we'll see them again.
Okay. See, that's
This
awesome.
one of the things
That's
I
cool.
one of the things I liked about that whole part there is one of the things I love about this show, and it's they talk about how they're going to get food and how they're hungry and how that's a side of Star Wars that has never really been addressed. Like one of the things I love about this show is the everyday living aspect of living. What would it be like to live in this universe? And like they're literally fighting over food and over
Yeah.
melons. You guys only have melons to eat.
Yeah.
You're not going to and all that and something. I know some I can get why some people are annoyed with that because it's like that's not Star Wars. But there's that and there's like the showing them farming and stuff, like doing farming again. What can I say? I'm just in a farming mood right now, but showing them making grain and how they feed the empire and all that stuff is just so fat.
I love it.
I love that world building and the actual reality of Star Wars,
Yeah.
what it would mean, and like mining the pot, like how the empire talking about how they're going to get enough supplies and mining all this stuff and what's the effect of the economy and how are we going to sell this message to our people and I just find all that stuff just crazy fascinating. So
Andy, I love it. I love all of it. Now, I know that there are some people, okay, I saw a couple memes like, if I had known trade routes were so important in
yeah, yeah.
1997, I would have appreciated George Lucas more. Or, like, now we've got a whole show about how to market fascism to people or
It's
things like little jokes. I know people like to make jokes, but to me, that stuff is fucking brilliant. And that makes it that's what makes Andor the only adult Star Wars ever made. And Rogue One, really, this is the only adult stuff.
uh-huh.
I know we all love Star Wars. We all grew up on it. Star Wars is for kids.
Yep.
So when you hate on all the Star Wars movies and Rey and what they did here and there, you have to know that it's like an all ages show, right?
Yep.
You're not going to get those hard rockers that you wanted. You're going
Yeah.
to get something that's more poppy for the masses.
Yeah.
This is really
It's-
that hard stuff. And I like that. When those two marketing guys jumped in and they were like,
yes.
"Don't you get icky when you're talking
Uh-huh.
about those people?" I was like, "Do these guys work for Trump? Like, what the fuck is going on here?" Like this,
Yeah,
and that's exactly what he was writing for. He's admitted it.
yeah.
Like that's kind of his basis. He's trying to look at how you sell fascism and how it's marketed to people by using their fears and their own insecurities
Hmm.
to to actually in some false way lift them up by pushing other people down. and we've seen it time and time again. I love all that shit, Andy.
There's it's definitely like when you say it's not a kid's show, it's not, yeah, it's not an all ages show. Like say that's it's the only piece of Star Wars I can think of that I would not show my 8-year-old. I mean, I would
Yeah,
not. And like
and
I
they'd be
don't know
bored. They'd
there
probably be bored too.
for sure. And there's I'm not going to spoil what happens, but have you heard about anything about episode 3?
I just heard that I need to watch it.
Okay,
That's all.
because
I know that there's some talk, and I've been shifting my
yeah.
attention away from it.
So there's
So I
I will
want to
not
go in.
spoil it. There's something that they bring into the Star Wars universe that has never been mentioned before. And I was shocked. Like even when it happens, I was talking to him like, I can't believe this is in Star Wars. This kind of thing doesn't happen in Star Wars. So you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when it happens. But
It's of an adult nature, I gather,
yes,
by the way you're
yes,
talking about it.
yes, and it's just man, the scene was awesome, and it was I was like, I can't believe this is on Disney Plus. It's on Star. So I shouldn't say it's
That's
awesome,
what
but
they need. That's
very
okay.
adult. Yes,
Right. Yeah, that's cool for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to explore. Hey, you know what? They also have Star Wars that's like 100% only for kids, right?
yeah,
Like, that's like,
I
so,
like that
you
they're
know,
trying different little veins because like
uh,
there's like the like my 3-year-old watches the Young Jedi Adventures cartoon show, which is
that's what
like
I'm
for
talking. Yeah.
toddlers, or
Those
Skeleton
toys
Crew,
are,
which is like Goonies.
Andy,
Yeah,
are you like me that every time you go, you want to buy all those toys? They are really great toys, dude.
I yes,
I
I
have
know.
to stop myself. If I go get into figures, you know, we're Lego obsessed folks, but if I got it,
Yeah.
I've said it
Oh
before,
God.
I would go nuts for figures because I love that's my original shit. But I almost bought the Fred Meyer near me has had like the ship and the little green guy and the little kid with the lightsaber. And
Uh-huh.
I've wanted to buy that every time, and I think it's going to get me at some point. I just don't even know where I'd put it.
I do have one of the small Lego kits from that series. So I do have a couple of the
I
little
got one too.
minifigures.
Yeah, I got one too.
It was like 80% off. And I'm like, well, I can't resist that. So
Yeah, the figs are so, oh man. But that's the point, right? It's okay.
yeah.
That was my hope when Disney got Star Wars is that they do a bunch of different stuff. Now, because it's Disney, I kind of figured the least stuff they're going to do is adult stuff, right?
Yeah.
They're going to always go towards the McDonald's of it all because that's what Disney is. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It's not deep. But I love the opportunity to do this, for them to have the opportunity to do this show. I will say it does make me want, I'm such a sucker for the industrial, the design of the Empire. I love it. So whenever we're on a ship or we're in their meetings or anything like that, I'm just looking at their outfits and the walls and everything. Now, of course, it's total Nazi shit, right? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Oh, it's
a
Nazi.
100% it's Nazi shit, but it has that same weird occult vibe too.
There's you get a lot more of that in episode 3. There's a great
Okay,
scene in the apartment of the Imperials that we have seen earlier. There's
nice.
one of my favorite scenes of the series takes place. You'll also know that when you see it. It's hilarious and crazy all at the
I
same
got a lot to
time. And
look forward to. All right,
yes,
I might have to watch this
episode 3
after
I
we're done.
loved. I loved
Okay,
episode 3. And but
yeah,
easily the best of the or first 3, but and it still
that's
had, like I
cool.
said, it still had some of that comedy that that Star Wars always has. Like I say, the even when he's taking off with the TIE fighter at the beginning, where
Yeah,
there's it's funny, and then but he also gives the impassioned speech to the rebel. I was like, wow, this is really. I thought Diego Luna was fantastic in this
he's
again as
awesome,
well.
dude.
So
He's awesome. Well, he's to Mama. How do you say that? You Mama Tambien, right? Isn't that
E2
wasn't?
Mama Tambien,
Okay,
yes,
thank you. That was him, right?
I'm almost positive it was him.
Wasn't
Was
that him and the guy who was in the Amazon show?
yeah,
The I can't remember.
Gail
I'm the
Garcia
worst.
Bernal.
Yes, who's also an amazing fucking actor.
Yep,
Yeah, he's a great actor, man.
yeah,
The
he's
show's
really
great.
good.
I'm so happy it's back. And it's crazy that what there's 12 episodes, right? So there's
Yes,
four 3 episode pods. That's a lot, man.
yeah,
Like I was just watching these 2 episodes. I
it's
was like, and the other thing we should mention as well is that they are totally 100% not using the globe, or what was that thing called again that
oh
they
the
use too much?
what the heck was that called? The volume?
The volume. They're
Yeah,
not, everything is stage built like the
Yeah,
practical
or
sets,
on
outside
locations. Yeah,
some
it's some of the
great
best
stuff.
looking Star Wars ever. It's beautiful to watch.
Knocks you out,
Yep.
knocks you out. Oh, by the way, when he's trying to get out in the first scene and the TIE fighter just whips back
Yeah.
into the wall, they did that in something else, and I can't remember. That was a callback. Some Star
Well,
Wars freak out there. I bet you, Jewel. I have to listen because I just started
Star Wars, I
watching. I
thought
like to.
to me it reminded me exactly of your all-time favorite actor, Mr. William Smith in Independence Day when he gets in the alien ship
Oh,
and he
maybe
goes
that
whoa and
was.
it rams
Oh,
backwards when he's trying to get out. That was immediately what I
okay.
thought of
Maybe that was it. It just
because
to me,
it's
I know that homage is a big part of Star Wars.
yeah,
Like
it might be
Lucas,
it
the whole
probably is
thing is
a
an
yeah.
homage. So
Yeah.
they always do, they try to throw stuff that even
But
to
it
other
could have been
movies.
it could have been another Star Wars thing for sure because I mean there's
Yeah,
so
that
much
was
Star Wars
cool.
material at this point that
It's
I
great
mean
stuff.
yeah.
The one thing I have to say, okay, I will say one thing I'm not super into, right? Which is I understand that his original story and the little droid and the big guy and the absolutely gorgeous woman who was like his ex-girlfriend or something, they're on this planet. And I like when we're touching on the Empire and how they fit into what's going on. I like that because I didn't like so much in the first season. I was not as much in love with the stuff that took place in his hometown and the kind of like little drama that went there. That was the least enjoyable part of the first season for me. So I like the way the first episode is a little bit too much. Where's Ando? Where? Oh, we're waiting. Don't you remember us from season one, guys? It was a little expositional. But then when the Empire arrived and it became more about their experience touching the Empire, I
Yeah.
liked it more. So I just
Yep.
want to say I hope it continues in that vein and we get less of, you
And you
know,
know, I well,
that
and
drama.
I liked how, like I said, I like how the Empire touched like the stuff in the prison thing, how the Empire ran the prison in the first season, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There was one other thing that came to my mind because I was reading a little bit about this too, and I know you always like these kind of connections. Two of the guys that were arguing two of the rebel guys are actually Tony Gilroy's family members because he said he got inspiration from
I
that
love it.
like during a Thanksgiving fight or something that they were arguing, so he ended up writing it into the script and then casting his it's like I don't think it was his son and his nephew or something like that. So
That's
actually Gilroy's
awesome,
actual
dude.
family members are in that as two of those guys bickering.
I
So
love that. That's just like in Mando when we had the guest stars, right?
yeah, yep.
I that's why like certain in-joke Star Wars stuff like that has been going on for like 50 years now, I think is really fun. And
Hmm.
I'm really happy that this show is on. I can't wait to watch episode 3. Ando, do you need to get signing off? We've hit about the hour mark.
I'm still
You
good for a
want
little while. I'm still
you
good for a little
sure?
while here. Yep.
Okay, I wanted to give you some. I don't want the tornadoes to come in there and
Well, it's they're not supposed to come for another hour or two, so I'm okay yet. It's just more
well,
my bigger thing will be as if the boys come marching in, and
okay,
you'll hear that when it
that's
happens.
the internal tornado.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly right, inside and
s-
outside here.
Somebody tagged you on the old person Facebook, and it was like, Andy, there's a storm coming,
Oh,
and I
that's
looked at it, and it was like. There will definitely be supercell tornadoes here, and I was like, Jesus Christ, Andy, I'm scared for you. Are you okay? Like,
we're we're gonna we're gonna podcast live through a tornado is what
oh
we're
my
gonna do.
God. Have you ever seen a tornado?
Um, I don't think so.
Okay, so there aren't a lot of tornadoes
I
around
mean,
you.
they're usually more to the south, but I've actually been very close to a tornado before.
Okay.
I went through it when I was going back. There was a really big one that hit. It's about halfway between here and the Twin Cities that hit back like in 1998, or was it 98 or 97? 98. And I was driving back to school at the U of M the same day it hit, and that was before
Oh,
smartphones and all
wow.
that stuff. And I literally went through the town of St. Peter like 15 minutes before the tornado basically wiped out the town. So I've
Holy
been very,
cow.
very close. It was like the sky was green and it was raining so hard I couldn't, my windshield wipers
Okay.
couldn't keep up. And
You saw the sky turning green though,
yes, the
right?
sky
Did
was
you see
green.
the twirling
No,
going on?
it was raining so hard I couldn't. All you could see
Okay.
was I mean, it was just pounding on, you couldn't, it was kind of like being in a blizzard, but with the rain was so hard you couldn't see anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, because I was listening to, instead of listening to a radio like you should have been, I was listening to my Walkman that was plugged into the tape deck, and I had to stop at the town just south there to fix my windshield wipers. And I hear all these sirens. I'm like, what the hell is that all about? So I turned the radio on and said, take cover, take cover. And I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? And I just floored it, and I should have taken cover. So it was kind of stupid, but I made it. So I've been close to
There
a
you
tornado,
go.
but never actually seen the rotation in person. So
That is crazy, man. Wow, that would be, yeah, I'm just trying to think about being on a road like that. And then you hear, yeah, whenever I've only experienced that with snow in New Jersey, where all of a
yep,
sudden it's like, holy shit, there's a blizzard happening. And I had the same mentality. Of course, I was like 19 or 20. It's like, well,
yeah,
why shouldn't I just go a lot faster to where I'm going? I mean, it's
yep,
not like it's more dangerous now.
yes.
Um, but wow, I've only saw. Okay, one time I was in our old house in Durham, North Carolina, and I was standing on the back porch. We had like a screened in porch, and I was looking through like the mesh, and all of a sudden, and I knew there was like tornado, what, not what, it was watch,
Yeah,
which one's worse?
warning is worse.
Okay,
Warning means get your ass in cover because it's coming for you.
right. Watch means the conditions are correct that a
Yes,
tornado
because
may
technically
arise.
I am in a tornado watch where I am right now. Technically,
Okay. But the warning is like there's been a tornado spotted. It might hit you. Get
yeah.
the fuck out. Do
Take
something.
cover, take cover. Yep, when the
Okay.
warning starts. That's when the sirens start going. Is when the warning hits.
It was a warning. There
Hmm.
was a tornado. And the and but it wasn't what I saw. That was a little farther away. But what I saw was the sky turned green, like you're talking about. Like
Yep,
greeny, it was weird, like almost purpley too, like
yep,
green. And then the shit started swirling around, bro. Like
yep.
I could literally see from the porch, it was like a toilet bowl in the sky. And I have never been so scared in my life.
It's
I had a panic attack, man. I was like, where? Like I didn't know where to go. Like I was going back inside, then I
yeah.
was going to check on it, then I was going back inside, and then I called my wife, and she was like, "Honey, that's like 20 miles away. It's not near our house, and what's happening with it now?" It's like it doesn't. No, I don't know. I don't really see it that much. It's like these things happen. You don't notice them. Like it starts happening and then it dissipated.
That's it's
But it
funny
could have been a tornado.
when my wife first moved down here because she lived in the Twin Cities, and I'm in an area where you can literally see 20 miles straight because it's that flat and that wide
Yeah,
open. So you can see thunderstorms and things moving that may never even come close to us, but you can see them and they
we've
look
talked
extremely
about that.
close.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So yeah, she I think she gets okay with it now, but it took her a long time to kind of not freak out over that. So like
Yes.
I've been in tornado warnings plenty of times. I mean that we will have that, but I've never actually usually I'm get down in my basement, so I'm not looking outside, so I
Oh,
haven't seen. So they do happen
possible.
occasionally here.
Yep.
So
It's
I just
possible that you could have seen something spinning, but you were smartly in your basement.
yeah, it is possible. And say we get more we our bigger problem usually is straight line winds. We've had that way more often where it just will complete like 50, 60, 70 mile an hour winds that will just knock over trees and stuff. Not so much a tornado, which is it's different than a tornado. It's still very dangerous, but
Yeah. We got
so I
high
don't know.
winds some outlines out here.
I just
But
kind of try and hope for the best.
yeah, I hope you're okay, man. You
Yes,
have
so do
like,
I.
well, I know you have a basement. You have like you can really get down in there. You'll be okay.
Yes. Yeah, they're at this house, this building before we bought it wasn't a house originally, so it actually has some big storm cellar, like big concrete storm cellars in the basement. So if it gets really bad, we can go in the concrete storm cellars and we'd be just fine. So
How long you think you could live out the apocalypse? A couple of years? You got some supplies down there, or just Lego?
just Lego.
Okay. Well, at least
That's
you can
all.
build shit,
Yeah,
right?
that's all you need, right?
Yeah, just that makes the time flow.
Yeah.
But oh, I remember what you were talking. See, being from New Jersey, I never experienced what you're talking about, being able to look out in the distance.
Hmm.
Now, Mike, my old buddy, we made Smokers
Oh
together.
yeah.
I used to podcast with us, podcast Winterfell, Lost, all types of shit. he's from Kansas, so this is normal for him because he's from this
Yeah.
flat motherfucking area.
Yep.
When I was coming across the country driving with him and we were stoned out of our mind, and I look out the window and I see a thunderstorm like 30 miles away, and it's just like a fucking painting.
Yeah.
And I
It
said to him, I thought it was like War of the Worlds, like the
it's I would say
tripod.
it looks like Close Encounters of the Third Kind a lot of
Yeah.
times when you
Yeah.
get the, especially near sundown, if there's a storm that comes through on sundown, that's what it looks like all the time. You get
I
that
freaked
crazy
out.
light. Yep.
I went, Mike, what the fuck is that? Holy shit. And he was like, chill out, dude. It's just like a little thunderstorm or something, man. What are you talking about? I was like, I've never seen any. And then it dawned on him. And he was like, oh shit, you're right. I don't see that when we're in Jersey City
Yeah.
because there's like buildings and
Yep.
everything around. You don't see that. And of course, it's actually New Jersey and New York's a lot of hills, man, a lot of
Yeah.
mountains over
Yeah. There's just
around
a lot
there.
more structure there than there
Yeah.
is in Kansas or Minnesota. I mean, Kansas is even flatter than it is here.
Yeah.
It's flat here, but Kansas is really, and that's they have a lot more tornadoes in Kansas and Missouri area than we usually do here. But so hopefully we'll miss it. But yeah, I think they said possible up to baseball size hail. I really don't want that either. That would really cause a lot of damage.
Yeah. That's
So we'll
crazy.
see.
Well, it's kind of interesting that this became a Weather Channel podcast,
I
Andy.
know, I know.
We were talking about tornadoes for about 15 minutes. But I hope that you're okay. You're just told you're chill. See, the fact that you have the basement, that's how I'd be.
Yeah,
If I knew I could be safe and my family was safe, there's nothing you can do. It's nature. You can't
that's
do anything.
that's
So you
part
just
of
have to be safe.
ever since I got started farming, my kind of my thing has always been Mother Nature's always going to win. So
Yep.
it's no use trying to worry because she's gonna win. If she wants to take you down, she's taking you down, or if she wants to destroy everything, she's gonna do it. So
Yep.
it's out of my hands, unfortunately. So I just hope for the best.
Or Ando, if she wants to, over the period of 44 years, construct one of the most perfect women named Minka Kelly that has ever existed, Mother Nature can also do that, folks. So
Mother Nature for the win. Yes.
it ain't all tornadoes, baby, but it is in Ransom Canyon. All right, Ando, you're the best. This was such a fun podcast. I love
Yes.
chatting with you, buddy. It's Monday. We hope everyone has a great week. Maybe we'll be back this week. Actually, I don't think we have anything planned. I'm trying to watch some shows. If I can get to some of them, I will perhaps be podcasting about them, but we shall see.
Oh, Solo said he is working and listening, digging a ditch. He said is what he's working on
Oh,
today.
he's digging
So
a ditch.
the
Oh, he's just
little
burying
the old
bodies now,
the old
huh?
the old. Good job, Solo. Keep it up.
Good job, buddy. Oh, look at this picture too. Our live picture, we're both smiling. I wonder if YouTube picked that out on purpose.
Oh, maybe it did.
Oh, look at that big smile on your face, Andy. All right, that's a way to end it. I
Oh,
love it.
perfect.
Thanks everybody for listening. DVRpodcast.com. Thank you so much to all of our amazing patrons. Oh, Andy's making some amazing cover art for our next podcast coming up in only a few weeks, Duster on Max. And guess what? HBO actually responded to my email. So that's amazing. I told them we were doing a podcast and they sent me some links and stuff.
Speaking of that, did you look at any of that artwork?
No, I haven't looked at any of it.
One of the pictures is it David Keith or Keith David that's in this? I always
Yeah,
get the two
Keith
mixed up.
David.
Keith David is in it with another guy, and in the background, there's a movie poster for a little film called 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Ooh, see, this is what I'm telling you, man. This show is
I think
more than
there's
meets the
something going
eye.
on there. There has to be. As soon as I saw
I
that, I'm like,
know it.
oh shit, I know that poster. That's
Well,
not an accident.
there was a quote where J.J. Abraham's son was like, this show has got that alias. There's something else going on. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with
That's
this show. We're going to have a lot of fun,
uh,
dude.
I cannot
And
wait.
and I hope that you're going to be available for the first episode if you get all your planting done.
That's as long as we don't. The weather is supposed to hold out here for the next week. I need about another week of good weather, and I'll be okay. So I think we're okay. After today, I should be okay. So
All
I
right.
think I'll be
Awesome.
on schedule. So
Awesome. All right. No tornadoes, Ando. Thanks, everybody. Minka Kelly, I love you. This
bye,
podcast
Minka.
is dedicated to you. Bye, Minka. Peace out. We love you. Stay strong. Ransom Canyon, folks. You know how to do it. All right. I was trying to end it on that, but then I forgot I have to end the podcast and the YouTube.
We might have to just end all podcasts now, just saying bye, Minka.
Bye, Minka. Oh man. She is a patron saint of all dudes over